This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Zoe Lyons is here this morning. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Frank,
What are you giggling at, Emily Dean?
Zoe and I are being naughty in the back of the car.
I know, it's you two
sorry.
together. I'm going to knock your heads together. Probably can't do that anymore.
Can I just kick off briefly with something? Because this doesn't often happen to anyone ever, which is someone getting in touch to say, started rewatching Merlin after hearing you on the show. This is Lisa. Do you want to know her verdict?
I do.
She's an avid reader, by the way.
It's on demand, I notice, at the moment. The whole
Not in my
Merlin
house.
5 series.
No, mine.
Sorry, Frank. Lisa says superb.
Eh.
Great review.
Well, just for some... I don't know. I don't know if this perhaps explains things more. I'm a 10th Doctor fan.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of your lot.
Yeah.
And nothing could live up to my David Tennant, but Colin Morgan comes a close second. Thanks for, again, not something you hear that often, reawakening my Merlin passion.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Okay, that sounds like an amazing
I'll tell you,
euphemism.
People are mocking about it from the outside, but once you get inside, it's like the heroin community. From the outside it looks pretty bad, but once, you're making friends there, you know the places.
How old is Merlin? I'm completely... I don't know what you're talking about.
Merlin is it's a TV show that was a sort of Saturday, that Saturday tea time slot for
Yes.
people
I'm aware of
for
it.
younger
Yeah.
people, and me.
Yeah.
And it was
On Channel 5.
It's just very fun.
On Channel 5?
Was it something like that?
No, it was
It was.
BBC One. What are you talking about?
Are you sure it was?
I'm absolutely sure.
Okay.
And it has Richard Wilson as Keys, which is like the advisor to the young Merlin.
Oh, so it's a young Merlin.
Yeah. It's this is Colin Morgan. It's young, handsome Merlin. Before,
Oh, a young... So he's still got a sort of slightly tighter sleeve at that point. Is that...
yes, he's got the tight sleeve, and he hasn't gone for the chiffon-free wimple, which he wears in later life.
Well, he
does in the very.
The wizard always goes for the forgiving tunic later in life.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's for sleight of hand, isn't it? Because Gandalf also has he likes flares, but not on his legs.
He goes for the We know they're very handy, those Mew-Mews.
A Mew-Mew.
What's a Mew-Mew? A flared sleeve?
Over to Zoe Lyons.
It's like a flared sleeve. Yeah, it's sort of a tunicky type flared sleeve.
kaftan-y.
Yeah, kaftan. Oh, I love a kaftan.
Do you?
Do you know what? This is a weird thing about me. I have a sort of secret crush on sort of 70s style men in kaftans.
Oh, Demis Roussos.
Men,
Demis
you say?
Roussos is my absolute go-to guy.
We will be forever.
There's something about a kaftan and a cowboy boot combo that just really sets me off.
I don't like the way the fringes of the kaftan sit on the top of the cowboy boot.
No.
You're constantly pulling it out, constantly adjusting.
Oh, I don't like a cowboy boot with no purchase on anything.
I know
Do you
what
understand
mean.
what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah.
like it floating. The idea of a man lifting up his kaftan and there's just these little booties.
It's the humped top of the cowboy boot against bare leg.
Bare leg.
Oh, I hate it.
I was when I used to do a show called Room 101 in the old days on television, and Charles Dance. In fact, even though I always say my A's like sand and class, when I say Charles Dance, I feel I ought to say Charles Dance. And he had jeans on, and he sat, and as the show progressed, the jeans steadily rised up his leg, and I thought, when will this cowboy boot end? Is it like cowboy boot trousers? Waders.
So he
For when
had
you're
cowboy boots
wading on the prairie.
Charles Dance was wearing cowboy
Oh, yeah,
boots.
he's very cowboy boots, posh.
Oh yes, the Poshans love a cowboy.
I think he swims at the Hampstead Lido on a regular basis.
In his cowboy boots.
Charles Dance. I think he takes them off for that. Puts them next to his Stetson.
Yeah.
No, but the Poshans, they'd probably keep them on. Oh, load of stuff and nonsense. Keep them on.
Keep your boots
Good
on.
for you.
Keeps the legs down.
He's my kind of posh bloke, Charles Dance, because he was, he plays banjo and stuff like that.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
He's a
the
lovely
cowboy
friend
boot.
for you. Why didn't you cultivate that friendship
Because
more?
I'm frightened of him.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Oh, what's popped up on my screen? I don't like that. Do you ever get that? You get a pop-up with all the weather and all the various bits. I don't like that. I don't want to know.
No, I get sportswear.
Do you?
I'm always getting sportswear. Why me?
What sort of sportswear then? What,
You know,
just sort of under the scene, behind the scenes
People
sportswear,
in,
if you know what I mean.
tracksuits. And sometimes I get an all-in-one swimsuit
Do you?
advert. I don't remember buying any. I mean, I go on football websites and maybe that makes...
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get bombarded with adverts for terry toweling shorts.
Do you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done that incontinent
I
Edinburgh
shouldn't,
show.
but it's from the heart,
I know
mostly.
that. It was certainly very warming.
It was very warming. Not a dry seat in the house.
Frank gets bombarded with the walk-in baths.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Viral ads, because that's what he likes to Google late at night. He likes
Do
the
they have
ladies
to-
in those.
The door on the side of a bath.
They do.
I wouldn't trust a seal on that.
I've got a Wild West one. It's got swinging doors on my walk-in
A
bath.
saloon bath.
Now, you wouldn't trust the seal.
No. On
okay.
a door, on a
I
bath.
don't think you don't have to have it with the seal.
With his ball hang on his nose. No, but
Has any seal ever balanced a ball on its nose ever? Is that me?
not in the wild, I don't think.
No,
I don't think it's
we don't know that. I remember an elephant escaped from Dudley Zoo in the West Midlands, and they said in the paper that it had escaped using circus skills. I thought I'd like a bit more detail on
on a
this.
tiny bicycle.
Wearing a little tutu.
Yeah, exactly. It flew. Its ears suddenly opened up and it
Do
flew.
they not wear the tutu anymore?
No.
Is it not allowed?
No.
You don't see elephants in circuses anymore.
No. Oh, it's a shame.
Well, I think I think the general feeling is it's a good thing.
Oh,
I
is
know.
it? Oh, okay.
I know. But there
By
it
the
is.
way, I heard. Can I tell you
I
something?
can tell what I
will.
imagined it doing.
on.
Walking on a small ball. You know when they used to
Oh,
walk
yes.
on a ball. But why would that help you escape?
They would also pose the elephant on a little, almost a tiny plinth.
Yes, those very
In a sort
small.
of lady posing for a lad mag in the 90s way.
Yes.
Yeah.
The contrapposto pose. They were bed
With
bed
hands
knee.
and feet very.
Hands.
Well, sorry. I'm harking back to an expression I can't explain from my youth, which was hands and feet in a quart jug. But
yes.
it was like that, the limbs all closed up. Anyway, it was cruel, and it doesn't happen anymore. Let's make that clear. And it's a good thing, we'd all agree.
Can I tell you both something?
Will you agree?
Agree.
We absolutely agree.
Okay.
Can we discuss the Faye who works with us on the show?
Yes, Faye's the assistant producer, who we sometimes tease about being a bit posh. I'll be honest with you. We have teased her about being a bit posh. And she takes it well, with the confidence of the posh,
Yeah.
one might say.
She gets her staff to deal with it.
It's a bit of a
Exactly.
Charles dance.
Yeah, exactly. We get some lovely Smythson notepaper saying, re your remarks on the show, with the address crossed out in the corner. But we'll come to what Faye said this morning in a minute. But if you'd like to slip into a top hat and monocle or a ball gown during this break, I would do it for preparation.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You left us on something. Well, there was a bit of a teaser, Faye.
Yes, well, we love Faye. Don't get me wrong, she's great. And I like posh people. When I lived in Birmingham, I thought posh people were a foreign species. And when you meet, I came to London and met some. then you realise they're just like working class people. There's nice and there's not so nice. But Faye's one of the nice ones, and she told a story about one of her friends. At first, I thought she said he disappeared for 2 years, and I thought, oh, one of Faye's friends has done a coup in an East African country or something.
But it is quite posh person to disappear. A girl, I told you about that girl at in Style magazine, and she said it was terrible. My uncle, no one's seen him. We think he was got by a bear.
Right.
Got by a bear?
Yes, oh dear.
Sorry, back over to Frank in the studio.
So, well, I think you should tell this story because it was said to you directly, Emily.
Yes, for some reason she thought I'd be a receptive audience.
Yeah, I think
don't
she
know
sees
why.
you as my interpreter in these matters.
Between the classes, I straddle the classes.
Like when you explained to me that thing about having your address on the top of the postcard.
I was telling Frank about how when posh people cross through, you know, on letterhead when you get a card,
Yeah.
you get a, and they would cross through their name, and I said, "Oh, it's always
And address. Like
an
an
address, you know, and it's printed at the top of the
Okay.
card." And I said, "You know, it's that manners thing, like when you cross through your name on the card." And Frank said, "What? You look bemused."
Yeah, I'm looking for me. I don't
So
understand.
people, you get like headed notepaper or headed
Correspondence
postcard,
cards.
Correspondence.
and they cross out the name and address.
There's one
Why
line
would you
through
do it?
So
Well, I assumed that they'd moved and they didn't want
Yes.
to waste their headed stationery.
In my mind, I'm assuming we just don't want any return mail.
Oh, okay.
okay, incorrect.
Okay.
It's a manners thing. It's a way of saying, so for example, members of the aristocracy and the royalty do it. So Diana would famously do it, Princess Diana, that she would cross through Diana in Kensington Palace. It's a way of saying, you're my friend, and let's dispense with these formalities.
Oh wow! How? That's like. How would you know that?
Yeah, well, I didn't know it.
Secret language of the posh. So what it? So I'm going to go to the effort of having these printed off with my name and address on,
Yeah.
which is.
I'll get someone to do that for
get
you.
someone
Yeah.
to do that nice little embossed thing, and then cross it off and go. Well, we'll
No,
dispense
but
with that.
if you're writing to someone who you're not trying to say
Yes.
we are friends, then you don't cross it off. That's the idea. It's a bit like a tu and vous in French.
Very good explanation.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyway, Faye was saying,
Quite a posh analogy.
That was very good, Frank. I was very impressed with that.
welcome. Faye was saying this morning, oh, do you know this friend? Do you know? She didn't say, do you know? But she might as well have.
As she took the cigarette holder out of her lips. Do you know?
I think she began, I say.
Yeah.
I say. A friend of mine. Poor
Besides that
Faye.
more traditional.
I know, but I feel I can, exactly, it's correct and proper that I tell this story,
Yeah.
I suppose, in some ways. But, Faye said, oh, this friend of mine, he totally disappeared. We didn't know where he was.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. And we're all thinking, where is he? Turns out he won 2 Commonwealth gold medals in the fencing.
And we all, the fact that it was in fencing made it so
Yeah,
perfect.
that's lovely. Lovely.
It reminded me
Oh,
of
I know,
when...
she followed Frank by saying, one individual, one team.
Yeah. Well, I was a student, and I was still living at home. This was Birmingham Polytechnic, and I got up one morning, and there was a terrible note that just said John Lennon shot outside his flat in New York, and then underneath dead underlined. So I thought. I was really shocked and upset. So I thought, I'm just going to go and get drunk. So I went to the pub, and this guy came in who was a strange bloke, much older than most of the people that went in the pub, a Scottish guy, and he said, why are you in here on a weekday? And I said, one of my heroes has died today. He said, and do you know? I said, one of my heroes died. And he said, and do you know he was one of the 5 best fencers in Europe? I said, was he? No, I didn't know that. And it turned out that he was talking about the famous British fascist Oswald Mosley, who had died, who he accepted me describing as one of my heroes. So that was John Lennon. I did not fence as far as I know.
Frank Skinner on
Frank, you sort of seem to have inspired an impromptu texting.
Okay.
Corinne Foster has kicked it off on the subject of posh friends.
Yeah.
Corinne says, my son had a schoolmate whose father bought him a herd of cows for his 18th birthday. And then she says in parenthesis, their farm was near Henley. Of course it was.
Of course. How do you wrap that?
What constitutes a herd?
Oh, anything more than 3, I would say.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just plucking numbers out of
No,
the
but
air.
that was
though.
good. That reminds me when a bloke told me, a driver told me he was starting his own firm.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm getting some cars. And I said, what constitutes a fleet? And he said 5. I mean, just immediately, like
Yeah.
it was an absolute set in
Definite
stone.
number.
Yeah.
Because 2's a pair and 3's a herd, isn't it?
All right,
Yeah.
bingo caller.
All right, Charlie Sheen.
Hey. Oh, that's a throwback, isn't it? How's he getting on these days,
I
Frank?
don't know, he's keeping a low profile, as Quasimodo used to say.
You see some very pretty cows. Can I go back to the cows? Because I'm quite into
Sure.
cows. I'm a little bit scared of cows. I don't know about you. I don't trust a cow.
The tongues trouble me.
The tongues are quite a thing, aren't they?
I do quite a lot of walking holidays, and cows I don't mind, but some farmers still in a field with a public footpath will keep bulls.
Yes, I've had
and
that.
that can be genuinely
Very
frightening.
anger management. Why do we just tolerate bulls' anger? I mean, why don't people sort of say, sort them out and give them some
Well,
sort
I
of
think-
training?
Yeah, I think in Spain they're stricter.
No, I don't mean in that sense. I mean
No.
with love, love and boundaries.
Yeah,
Because they can't go around behaving like this.
I know. It's
Hooligans. But I went to Austria. I went to Austria a few months ago, and it was springtime in Austria.
this sounds like the beginning of a song.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And we were up the mountains, as you are, and they put the cows out to sort of pasture,
Oh, yeah.
eat the grass.
Great, yeah.
Can I just say, the prettiest cows you'll ever see in the... they were bizarrely attractive, beautiful eyes, and bejewelled as well. They've each got their own little bells on, all engraved.
I
And just-
remember standing on a hillside talking to Richard Iowadi, and we couldn't hear each other because of the volume of the cowbells from an adjacent herd. Not something that happens every day.
No,
Yeah, some beautiful cows.
beautiful cows,
Oh, lovely.
just stunning.
I wonder where they are now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ultra Magnus is also he's one of our regulars, Zoe, just FYI. Re the walk-in bath, Zoe. The door opens inwards, so the more water in the bath, the more pressure holding the door closed and making the seal tighter. Finally a use for my engineering degree.
How do you get in, though? How do you get in? You have to open the door, then what?
So you have to sit in you have to get in, close the door,
But
like
you
you're in
run
a
the
weird
bath
sort
while
of.
you're in it.
Well, you're in like a sort of a sort of soft top car in your bathroom.
I've always imagined that it operates like a lock on a canal. So
Okay.
half the bath that you're sitting in fills up, and then when the door closes, you can let the water go through.
That seems a bit complicated.
If I had a walk-in bath, I'd have all that sort of long boat art,
Oh yes,
stuff made out of rope.
yeah.
And that
Some
painted, very
buckets.
thick painted flowers and
Yeah.
stuff.
How
That's
would
what
you
I'd have.
feel
for me.
about living on a boat, a houseboat?
Well, I knew a guy who lived on a houseboat, and I went to visit him, and everything was damp. Everything you picked up, he was damp. His clothes were damp.
Did he
Were you on the
Oh.
outside of the boat, Frank, or was this in the inside?
No,
of
this
the
was
boat?
on the inside, but
Okay.
the water had forgotten. The water had discovered
No
osmosis
boundaries.
recently, and everything. When you give you a cup of tea, the cup was a bit damp on the. Oh, really? Yeah.
no.
But
Yeah.
there's something I see the appeal of it, certainly, but I imagine drunken youths at night.
Yeah, trying to
would-
get on your
would
boat.
throw bits of concrete off bridges and stuff at the boat. Break
Yeah,
some of
I don't
your.
want that.
I don't want that.
Break some of your enamelled pots.
I like foundations.
Do you really?
Yeah,
What's your favourite foundation?
Just something well bored, you know.
Oh, I thought it was a charity statement.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I heard from Anna Wright. Who's Anna Wright? Well, Anna Wright is a bookkeeper.
Oh.
Right, not as in librarian, as in ledger. You know those ledger books you used to have? They always had very big elastic bands, sort of on the cover.
Yes.
I don't know quite why, but anyway, she has sent me a gift. She said, "I am a bookkeeper and rustle through hundreds of invoices a week." I'm like, this is very Jarndyce versus Jarndyce, the way it's going. And wouldn't be able to do my job without my trusty rubber thimble.
Oh, remember them?
So I thought I'd send you one. Brand new, of course. It's a game changer when you're rifling through papers. Or even pound notes while cashing up in the office. I don't know when this letter was posted.
Did she do it by candlelight?
Pound notes.
They are still alive and well and a valuable... No, this I like. This is of the rubber thimble. And I think that the rubber thimble sellers should use this on their posters. I've never seen a poster advertising rubber thimbles, but maybe. So you get like the Coca-Cola advert with Kate Moss. It goes off and then an advert for rubber thimbles with a big thimble on it, and then it says, quoting Anna, "They are still alive and well and a valuable addition to the pencil case."
Oh. Can I see your thimble there, Frank? That's
can.
massive. It's... What? That's bigger than I thought it was going to be.
It's a longer thimble.
It's a longer thimble.
Again, it's for wading.
I'm glad we can't just
It's
get
for
one
picking-
end of this conversation. This is like confessions of a bookkeeper. Can I see your thimble,
It's for
Frank?
counting documents I found on shipwrecks. It's particularly long.
Don't take this the wrong way. But it really suits you.
Thank you.
You're a good thimble wearer.
What if I
Frank.
wear it all the time? You'd probably find there is good to get a bit of purchase on things.
I quite like it on you.
Yeah.
It suits you.
By the way, Anna goes, on the odd time I've got to work and forgot to put it in my work bag. This is the pencil case. I've had a mini meltdown.
Oh.
Sad but true. We all have our little things. I know you too favour the pencil case. Well, that is most certainly
It's
true.
definitely the first thimble I've ever seen in a forest green colour, because
I
they're
was
normally
admiring the
in
colour,
a...
yeah.
It's a
I'm
sort
thinking
of
it
blush.
as racing green.
Racing green. Speeding through your accounts with your racing green thimble.
Can I just give you the last line of this? And this should be signed Bob Cratchit.
Yeah.
It says, anyway, best get back to work in case the boss catches me writing to you. Oh, man.
Scratching away in pencil under the desk.
Yeah.
Anna, right, I love the
racing green
The thimble.
thimble.
I don't mean... You don't seem to be filling the thimble. It just
No.
seems a bit soggy at the end.
Again,
No.
Zoe, just be careful about how this sounds.
Look, I'm a Catholic. I have to work out to.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Anyway, it's maybe on the little finger.
Yeah, that looks better. That fits
I
better.
can't imagine me counting invoices with my little finger.
Can't imagine you counting invoices.
No,
You're
exactly.
a PA who does that.
Exactly.
So this pound note, though, she refers to it very confidently.
Yeah, I don't know
As
what
if
that's
it's
about.
legal tender. I know, I've said it without a Scottish accent. That's normally the only time you ever hear that phrase being used. But that's interesting. Gives one
yeah,
pause.
Am I
I think-
remembering this right? Did you used to get a little sponge that you wet your
Yes.
finger in
Yes.
so that you could rifle through? Yes.
In a
Wow.
bank.
Yeah, little finger
tell you
bath.
something
A
else
finger
as well.
bath.
It always made me want to work in a bank because I'd see them with the thimble and I think, imagine that was your domain. You
Licking.
had the domain of the sponge cake in the corner.
Licking was a lot more popular then because stamps now come on a thing where they're already glued. You used to have to lick your stamps. But I tell you what, you used to see tradesmen like the butcher. If the butcher was totting up your total of meat that you'd bought, you used to get the pencil from behind the ear and lick the pencil before writing.
Oh, what
always.
was that for? To make the leg more?
Give it a more defining line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but just darken up the line.
Like
and
an
also,
eyeliner.
people reading a book, licking licking a
yeah.
finger before turning a page. What
then I
happened
wonder-
to licking?
But I wonder if you did have one of those little finger baths, whether you shared it or whether you had your own finger bath. I don't know. I mean, I used to freak out with the Veruca pool at the school, at the pool, so the finger bath.
Well, as I've got older, I've got a walk-in finger bath. I had to walk. When you do your two fingers walking like a pair of legs, I have to do that.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Zoe Lyons. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Yes. So, have we heard from the outside world? is my
We
question.
have. We've heard 937 says, "Hi, Frank and girls." Oh, I like that.
Oh,
Frankengirl sounds like some sort
Frankengirls.
of some monster that's got some female bits and some male bits.
Wow.
Is the idea that Dr. Frankenstein stuck exclusively to males for his parts?
I don't
Oh, I
know
don't
what.
know.
I don't know about his business.
I've read it. It's never established that. I think they find that our body. I think the body's male, but I think there's a bit of patching up done.
Well, less worrying about that.
Okay.
More finding your monsters some shirt.
Well, no, that's it. No shirt was
do you know
found.
Frank has pointed? No shirt was found.
No.
Frank has pointed out. I think you were in a hotel room. That was one of the. You were in a hotel once. And
I arrived at a hotel after a gig, and it was late. It was about 1 o'clock, and reception was all locked. I hadn't checked in because I'd just gone into town, done the gig. Reception was locked up with the shutters down,
oh no.
and I thought, oh, really?
This sounds like a classy establishment
Yeah,
already if the
exactly.
shutters are down.
And I thought, I don't want to. This was in
Madame,
the
wasn't it?
days when I couldn't really stay in nice hotels. So I thought, where am I going to sleep if there's no? So there was a bell for service, so I rang that, and I heard movement behind the shutters. And I just, and then the door went up, and it was a bloke who was in a suit but with no shirt or anything under the jacket, like the Frankenstein monster from films.
What a weird look. Oh, that's freaky.
Yeah, I think maybe the Boris Karloff had some sort of a singlet. I can't remember. But I
It
think
became adopted by the PR in the 90s, where they'd wear just a small singlet underneath the suit jacket.
the PR.
Yes, people working in the male PR.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I think it was very cruel to Frankenstein, because if either, pick a lane. Is he a suit wearer or is he in leisure wear?
Yes, exactly. And of course, he's barefoot.
I would imagine he'd go for a tracky bum, but with a
Come on,
more formal
Franken.
jacket.
Well, I think he's barefoot in the book, and then from somewhere he's got these sort of deep sea diving boots. Yeah. This is a
There's some
creature
standard-
relearning walking. Maybe don't make it as difficult. Boxers used to train in really heavy boots, so
Yeah.
they felt light on their feet after.
I'd have gone for a flip-flop.
Not if because you don't want to show your stitches.
No. But that's the thing, is that he hasn't got the time to put a shirt on, but he's got the time to do the black nail polish.
Yeah.
Get your priorities right, Frankenstein, monster.
What about when I got that woman from the makeup department of a show I was going to a Halloween party. I was doing Frankenstein. She made me some bolts and gave me some green paint. I said, do you think I need one of those false heads? She said, no. One look at my head.
She should have said yes. Just
No, she just went, no. I mean, why? You've already got it, mate. Anyway, how did we get to that?
we got there from girls.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
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 Emily's going to sneeze. She didn't
that was the
sneeze.
most gentle sneeze in the whole world, Emily.
That was so
that was almost
professional.
internal. You sort of sucked that in.
That was
wow.
so-
Well done. That was a pro.
Yeah, what's
Absolute
great
pro.
is when it happened that the headphones slightly moved away from the head. Like there was 2 jets of air.
Yeah.
Ideally, I like my sneezes. I like to handle my sneezes like a sort of Victorian heroine called Ernestina.
Okay.
That's what I'm aiming for.
Wow.
That worked very well.
You've nailed it. You've nailed it.
That was the most elegant, quiet, gentle sneeze. It makes me wonder why we sneeze at all if it can be handled like that.
I like to proper sneeze. I do a proper. If I feel it, like I'll go with it.
I'm worried about if Freud. What would he have meant of? I like man sleaze.
I did say
Yeah,
sleaze,
exactly.
didn't I? Slip with a chong. Yeah, no, I'll do a proper. Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, my dad used to do that with no hands behind the back. My dad.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you could surf
to
on
make it more aerodynamic.
Yeah, it
wow.
was. I used to do my first routine I ever did on telly was about sneezing.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really grateful, but I don't know, it does come to something when the nicest compliment you received all year is you're a lovely, delicate sneeze.
Elegant.
I like the way you sneeze.
It was elegant. There's no other word for it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yes, we were talking. We never got to the end of that text, did we?
What, 937?
Yeah.
Hi, Frank and girls. When working in a bank in the 80s, there was a horrible lady called Cecilia who wore 3, that's in caps, that 3, rubber thimbles. She had a
Ooh.
pink rinse. That's Paul from Peckham.
3 rubber thimbles. She'd be like the Edward Scissorhands of the banking. Yeah,
Do you think she was shaking his confidence daily?
absolutely.
Yeah, don't call me Daly. Don't hear that joke very often these days.
No.
Well
No,
done,
no,
bringing
no.
that one, knocking the dust off that one.
The old airplane archives.
Is there more outside world?
There is.
Because I've got some. Oh, go on, give us
Go on.
another.
No.
I've got something I've noticed this last few weeks. Is I live in London, a large conurbation in the southeast of England, and occasionally, I don't know why it happens, but we get seagulls locally, even though the sea is 50 miles more?
Yeah.
50 miles away. So.
60.
So, of late, we've had a sort of flying ant day equivalent with seagulls and lots. Now, I would have thought this is boom time for seagulls at the seaside because it's hot. People go and they do that best thing ever of throwing a chip into the air and a seagull takes it out just out of the sky.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I could do that for, I would say, between 8 and 10 hours and not get bored.
Just lobbing chips at seagulls.
Just generally animals catching things.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's the best thing ever. I mean, obviously dog frisbee. But my dog will not catch a tennis ball if you throw it, but if you throw it and it bounces, he'll just pluck it out of the air on the first bounce. It's got a tennis approach to
Yeah,
it.
nice.
Animals, any good examples you've seen of animals catching 8, 12, 15, it makes me happy. But anyway, the local ducks, they run a bit of a closed shop at the pond. And
Oh, do they?
yeah, and I think they're quite resentful now if anyone comes and gives bread, which I know you're not supposed to do, seagulls are in. And I just wondered, as we've got someone here from the seaside.
Seaside. You make it sound like I've turned up dressed like a sailor, which I have. You know my way.
Well, you should have a kiss me quick hat.
Yeah, I should.
Arrive on
Yeah.
a donkey.
Yeah.
Nice pair of flares.
Yeah.
Why? Why? If anyone, by the way, is listening to this who knows about birds and bird behaviour, why do they come in if they're seagulls?
It's a weekend break.
Can you
Frank.
not sound absolute
it's weekend
radio,
break.
Frank? Can you not give a call to arms and say, anyone who knows about birds, text in?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do
You're
that.
undesirable.
I don't want to get a text in from the likely lads. James Bolam and Rodney Bewes.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing, I think, that the fact that seagulls have come into London when
City
they've
break.
got... Yeah, they're absolutely made for the seaside, hence their name. And then they come scratching around our patch.
I think it's because there's a lot of competition by the sea with seagulls. There's a lot of them. I'm reporting back from the coast. I can
But
now
we
tell
don't
you.
get any donkey rides locally.
No, you don't get the good bits. You just get the seagulls. It's a big problem. What's happened, right? I'm not sure about the sort of growth spurt of a seagull, but we seem to be in the teenage years of seagulls at the minute. So we've got the fledgling seagulls in Brighton, and they're a bit of an issue.
Okay.
Because they can't walk properly or fly properly, so they're just like little winged drunk gentlemen walking all around Brighton seafront. We had one in our back garden the other day.
How dare they?
I know. I looked through the window and I was like, oh no, there's a seagull in there. One that couldn't fly. I don't know
But
how it got in there.
in Brighton, I would have thought that was something that was not a shocker.
No, it's always a bit of an issue because they can't really fly.
Okay.
So and I couldn't get it out the garden.
Right.
But I've got a gate handily that leads to next door's garden.
Oh, I see.
So a little bit like throwing a ball back over a wall, I gifted them a seagull.
And did you
Indeed.
shout as you did it, as they used to shout to us when I was a kid, and if it comes over here again, I'll put a knife through it.
Well, we gifted them a seagull because I couldn't look at it because it had a really weird face and like properly tufty hair on top, and it was just freaking me out, and it started to tap on my study window, and I was like, I can't
Did
look at
it
this.
really?
Yeah, it was tapping and looking at me, and it felt very Hitchcock. So I was like, well, that's going to have to go. So I didn't touch it because you're not supposed to touch them. Didn't touch it, but I just simply opened.
not supposed to touch
Don't
them.
touch them.
No limitage.
No.
There's. I think they're possibly because they're not the cleanest.
They're not the cleanest. We're
Aren't
not.
they?
We're not. Yeah, and then the mothers won't come back to them if you've touched them. It's awful. I googled.
yes,
I did a lot of googling.
I've heard women have told me that before.
Yeah, it's not taken back.
Yeah.
So we gifted the neighbours a seagull,
Okay.
and then an hour later they re-gifted.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone a
It's
bit.
like living in a
re-gifted.
walk-in bath for the seagull.
Yeah, they re-gifted it.
Where is it now?
Well. Okay. So
If
we
anything bad happened,
suggested
I wouldn't
moved-
admit it on air. If you put a spade through it.
No, we didn't do that. No.
Okay.
No. We just suggested to it that it moved out the front area of the property by sort of corralling it, and now it's gone.
Oh my God, I feel we've only got a section of that story. You
don't know.
corralled a seagull.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But this links in beautifully to a story in the news recently about a seagull in Devon that was been shoplifting, which is just
Oh,
lovely.
yes, the shoplifting seagull.
Oh, the
Yeah.
criminal mastermind.
Yeah. It's been going into a local Tesco store and it's been caught on camera stealing mini cheddars.
Well, they gave him a name. Of course they did.
Yeah. Stephen Seagull.
I wish they hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Well, I do as well because it's not quite appropriate. Because I felt he was more the planner. You know, there was something very. I was impressed by him. He wasn't a sort of brawling ruffian.
No, but Stephen, I mean, that makes me think that they didn't really want to be at the meeting about the name for it.
Yes, exactly.
They were all in a rush, and someone said Stephen Seagull, and they said, yeah, that'll do. I'm not happy with that. But we'll come up with other suggestions maybe later.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Dilingual has got in touch with us.
Dilingual, yeah.
You're liking the sound already. Nice friend for you, Frank. Hashtag seagulls don't know their name, so they aren't bothered if they're by the sea. Which is a good point, Dilingual. Like crows, they are very good generalists.
Okay.
No special skills, but very versatile, so can play anywhere, including ponds. The hashtag Phil Neville of ornithology, if you like.
Okay. Well, I mean, Zoe's just given us some seagull info, which
I don't like this.
I know I'll avoid the most horrible story, but a seagull taking from your barbecue.
Yeah, lip barbecue.
Was it a lamb chop?
A lamb chop.
I mean, it shows genuine endeavour.
It landed. It must have been going like it was going.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was a
standing
lit
on
barbecue, so it was like, but still managed to land there long enough to sort of peruse what was available on the grill.
They
and took
thought
the
it
lamb
was
chop.
like a holistic retreat on the hot coals.
Yes.
They thought they'd come out a cleansed new individual.
But it's a bit like Colonel Tom Parker's Dancing Chickens. You know, Elvis's manager.
Is it?
Elvis's manager, when he was a carny, used to have a hot plate which he covered with a thin layer of sawdust. He'd play music and then he would put chickens on it, and because the audience couldn't see the hot plate, he sold them as his Colonel Tom Parker's Dancing Chickens because their feet were getting hot.
Wow.
Clever.
We've got another. I know we're talking about.
I forgot that. I'm sorry, I forgot the other adjective.
Yeah.
Very
cruel.
Let me change the order of those. Cruel, clever. Okay.
I know we're talking about seagulls, but just briefly, I'd like to share this because we were talking generally about. I think you were talking about how the seagulls. There seems some sort of almost intent, as if they kind of know what they're doing and taking pleasure in stealing and the food theft. And La Chica Irlandesca has got in touch with us, one of our regulars actually.
Okay.
I was at Cape Point in South Africa, and after we'd had a walk around, we bought an ice cream from an ice cream van in the car park. As we walked to the car, a baboon ran up behind my friend, pushed her on the bottom, so she fell on a car bonnet, and as she was falling, she screamed and threw her ice cream in the air. The baboon caught it with ease.
Wow.
And then sat cross-legged. It's the cross-legged.
That's
in the car park, holding the cone like a human and licking the ice cream happily with its horrible little tongue, showing no remorse whatsoever.
But this is when you have to admire these
Respect,
creatures.
baboon.
The push and catch.
Push and catch, cross-legged,
I mean-
yogic move.
Yeah, and that's for the horrible little tongue. Oh, these things are all subjective, of course.
And we've got a name suggestion to improve. I love our readers. Suddenly, I just got filled with a sense of love for our readers.
I tell you what, if there was a pub where people like our readers just drank every night, I might start drinking again.
I
It's
just
just
love the
bright,
people who listen to
clever,
our show.
inventive, interesting
They
people.
just, they think out the box. And a banana. Again, a lovely regular. Name suggestion for the seagull. We didn't even ask for this. You know,
Yeah.
if you just come up with this. Rude gullet.
Oh,
It's a great
Very
start.
good.
very
I
clever.
intentionally
Very good.
mispronounced it. I hope you understand.
No, I know, but I no, it's good. I in the 80s, if this had been a story, I think it would have been called Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Jonathan Livingston was so massive.
Yeah, it was.
Such a massive. In fact,
like
there's a
it.
thing about Jonathan. I'll do it after this, but something that sticks in my memory about the album.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So yes, in the 80s, the Jonathan Livingston Seagull, I think, movie originally. It was one of these. It was spiritual. You know, and spiritual is people have religious feelings but don't want to get up on a Sunday morning.
yes.
And they like a Buddha head in the garden, and that'll do it. So it was a bit that, and it was Neil Diamond who did the album.
Oh, Neil.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Obviously,
Was it?
I've got a bit of beef with Neil Diamond.
Have you?
Well,
He's another one of my secret crushes.
Oh,
Oh,
Zoe,
it's
it's a bit awkward.
It's a rival
It's a
football
rival-
song
Okay.
thing. I
You
see
know, Sweet Caroline.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
like,
you
oh,
see?
of course.
I
I'm so
see
sorry.
him,
I absolutely
more-
walked into that one. I
It's
I
more
apologise.
more of a cuckoo than a seagull, in that he's got into the football song Nest built by others,
Yes, apologies.
and he's after our eggs.
Yeah.
But on the cover, a mate of mine was obsessed with. He had the book and all that stuff, and he had the album. And on the cover, it's Neil Diamond on the beach, and he does that thing that men do when they're trying to say I'm a bit spiritual.
Oh yeah, polo net.
In their suit, linen suit. It's just the other side of Frankenstein monster. Linen suit, but bare feet.
Yeah. Toes in
Bare
sand.
feet. And it's either I'm spiritual or I'm the older guy who knows a lot about life in the Emmanuel films.
Oh yeah.
And he sits there. It's one of those albums where even Xander Armstrong wouldn't have used it for an album cover. I go that. Even he would have said, steady on.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair?
I love that. 1 foot up on a log and in a wax jacket. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
He's another one of my weird crushes.
Xander.
No, that's
I love Xander, but the album.
Come on. The album.
Golden brown, texture like wine. And as he said on the interview, Strangler's Light, it ain't. Oh, bless him. So yeah, it's very that. So if this had happened in the 80s,
Producer was absent. Faye. You know what I like? Faye, posh Faye, really enjoyed that bit of material.
oh, okay, nice. We haven't really gone into details about this, have we? It's a man owns a shop in, where was it again?
It's in Devon.
Devon.
It's a small Tesco.
Again, not a seagull area, but as has been pointed
Devon, surely.
Devon.
It's by the sea, I think you'll find.
I know, but it's a different kind of sea. I see them as more sort of, they like the more heavily branded. They're quite obvious.
Urban, seaside, but
They like a more
urban.
heavily branded seaside town. You know, they go
Yes.
for your peers. They're not going to go.
Lyme Regis.
No, I think there's a more, like on the south coast, there's a more artistic seagull community at St Ives.
Yeah, they're handcrafting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get cardigans knitted by local seagulls who
And
donate.
they're very
the money to-
bohemian. There's a lot
and
of
they
there's a
love
lot
it.
of stuff, a lot of dodgy stuff going on between
Yeah.
the seagulls.
Yeah.
Whereas where I live in Brighton, I've actually seen a seagull pull his head out of a bin with a tin of beans on it, but the lid's still been attached, so it looks like a baseball cap. That's the sort of seagull.
That's
Well, that's
great.
why your
That's
dog.
great. You've got the best seagull anecdotes.
But also, Zoe, that's why your dog can handle himself, as you've pointed out to me before. He can take care of himself.
He knows how to handle himself. He was once pooped on by a seagull.
I bet they didn't take well to that.
Really took him by surprise, to be honest.
I was with a friend at I think it might have been Western Supermare. And we had fish and chips, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm desperate for this." And he got and it was a lovely seaside fish and chip, and a massive, what looked like a mayonnaise topping suddenly appeared on it, and it was the seagull. And he did the brilliant thing of removing the bits he could see it on and eating the rest. There were poor times.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about the criminal mastermind,
Yes.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull,
Yeah.
christening him. This seagull who became something of a notorious figure in a Devon.
Tesco.
We're allowed to say Tesco, aren't we? Yeah.
I just think so.
Okay, good. The producer's nodding, always a good sign. Doesn't happen that often. And what I liked about this seagull is what he chose to steal. I'm saying he. Could be a lady.
Could have been lady.
Could have been a
seagull.
lady. It was quite. What I'm going to say is it was quite a 70s seagull
Right.
because he went for a lot of cheesy crisps. He was very specific in his choice. His diet was quite 70s. It was crisps he went for, I believe. It was largely a crisps.
Yeah, it was certainly snack. Certainly
No, he
snack
stole
based.
Monster Munch and tangy cheese Doritos.
Yeah, and mini cheddars.
Mini cheddar.
Mini cheddars. It doesn't get more. What else did he steal? Terry's all gone.
It's a bit
Pint
of
milk.
it's a bit of a slum, isn't it? As well. No vegetables taken at all.
No, straight for the crisps. I bet he
No
likes a
mineral
What's It as well.
water.
Well, What's It will probably be in his dietary favourites as well.
He's essentially a 1970s footballer.
Yeah, I think it might be. You know, when they have those... I remember in Brighton once they had a film screen on the beach.
Yeah.
But maybe it's that kind of thing and he's just getting his snacks.
He's just getting the order. I'm going down Tesco and if you want anything, Trev, what do you want? Doritos. All right, mate, you love them.
But they got a lot of CCTV of this this creature.
He keeps being caught on CCTV. But I sort of warmed to the seagull community after this. I wasn't previously a fan. He was quite decisive and there was an elegance about him.
It looks like he decided what he was going to steal, didn't it, before he went in? I don't think he had any preview. He wasn't tagged like so many wild birds.
I don't think he had any preview.
I think he might have just been in reduced circumstances and be forced into this.
I think if he'd been better equipped as well, he might have paid, because he's clearly a regular, but he doesn't have pockets, so, it's
or
hard.
maybe he's on the run. They might have sprung him from the scrubs or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
You never
anyway,
know.
it's a beautiful story in many ways. Normally shoplifting, you'd think, oh, really?
We have so many beautiful seagull stories.
Oh, okay.
For example, Bulletproof, 1979. Again, one of our regulars. On holiday in Marseille, we were greeted by the sight of what seemed to be local striding down the street with a seagull in what can only be described as a headlock. He was being chased by an American tourist in a safari suit.
Oh, I love everything about that sentence. I love.
Who was screaming, "Gendarme! Gendarmerie!"
Okay.
Bulletproof continues. To little response other than bemusement from the crowd. They disappear into the distance. An hour or two later, we saw the seagull guy, I presume this is the headlock guy, coming out of a cafe and dusting off feathers from his clothes.
Oh, dear.
No sign of the American, no satisfactory explanation has ever been arrived at.
So you think the seagull belonged to the American?
I don't. I mean, it was a bit strange. She was screaming, "Gendarmerie! Gendarme!"
I like it. That's what I mean. That's someone who doesn't have much French.
Yes,
isn't it?
just I only know police.
Basing it on having watched Bojet.
Yeah, it's a crime, So I'll just shout the name of the police. I'm not quite sure the difference between gendarme and gendarmerie, but I'll go for both.
That was like once I was on holiday with my sister in Mexico, and it was very sweet. There was a lady we were going on a tour, to see some ruins. They've got some lovely ruins in Mexico. And the lady was trying to describe in the nicest possible way, it was very sweet to the tour guide, that her husband was a larger gentleman, and she was trying to convey this. And she sort of did it in what I thought was a rather brilliant way. She said, "Excuse me, we have an hombre grande with us."
Hombre grande.
That's fab.
Very dignified. I liked it.
That could be the new word it's okay to say.
Hombre grande.
Yeah, because I like that.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Some of these gulls, honestly, what our readers have been saying about these gulls.
Let's hear it.
Well,
Gulls, gulls, gulls. Gulls, gulls, gulls. A little bit of voice. All right. You're going to sing it like that on the night?
when you said that, you sounded like Agent X20 from Stingray, one of his henchmen. No, it's one of Titan's henchmen.
I can't believe that you know. Last week I explained to Emily, I don't know if you remember, Zoe, who X20 is Titan's sort of secret agent.
And then you filled me in with some imagery afterwards.
Yes, Emily's been sending me pictures. She's got into X20. So this was in the Jerry and Sylvia Anderson series, Stingray.
Yeah.
And Titan was the bad guy, and the sort of sea lord.
Lord!
And one of his...
I am the Lord of the Sea.
One of his surface agents was X20, a green man with the voice of Peter Lorre, the old Hollywood actor.
Yes, familiar.
And I've got rather obsessed.
What is it about it that you...
Pull up a chair, gather around the fireside. It's absolutely brilliant, Frank. I think I might have found my very own Doctor Who. I started watching these videos. I couldn't get out. I went down a stingray hole. I mean, X2O. The thing is about
Zero.
him... Oh, X20. I do apologise. I felt like
Don't
he was
people
gonna
get
ring
angry
his...
when you mispronounce your surname?
Well, I noticed a few things about it. I'll try and keep it brief for people who aren't fans of X20. I mean, what are you doing listening to this? To be fair to him, I feel he gets a rather bad press. I felt he was quite a sympathetic character, quite sensitive. Yeah, he plays classical music. He's stuck on his own in this lair, and Titan is the real villain. He's the tyrant.
Oh, I'm going to have to watch this now, aren't I?
Yeah, but this is a bit just following orders. The fact is, he's a thorn in the side of the World Aquanaut Security Patrol.
Right, okay.
Constantly. Working with the aquamphibians, who it would be hard for them to pretend to be human beings on Earth because they really do look like
Bit fishy.
Yeah.
Well,
and
the
they
women...
talk like this.
Yes.
You know,
And they
sometimes
wear-
you're on the phone
And you get...
and it goes like that.
Also-
And I'll say to people, you sound like an aquamphibian. They have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But he reduces himself constantly, and it really upsets me because when he addresses Titan, there's a strange sort of screen which goes up,
Yeah.
and Titan's from the sea, and I really feel for him because he says things like "masterful scheme, Your Excellency,"
Yeah.
and Titan will say, "Don't ask me questions, you fool." There's obviously some Brian Blessed friend of my parents' actor playing Titan saying, "Do you know I could have played Hamlet?" But I found his character rather sympathetic, and I must say, you know, those characters do how they speak
The
again. Frank?
aquamphibians.
How do they?
Yeah.
What's odd is that Titan is underwater, and yet he's got very ornate robes. He's very well clothed for an underwater king. These guys, naked.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, is that their pun? Does that denote their lower status? They can't
I
wear
think,
pants.
you know, it's just a...
Can't wear pants.
It's a slight exaggeration of the class divide there. It's the difference between satin and nothing.
Yeah.
Which could be a description of, you know, how
also,
class works.
Wearing satin and satin nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I want you to watch this. I'm going to warn you.
I'm going to have to. I've listened
And
to
all
this.
other ladies out there, I wouldn't, Frank, you know, I see you as very much on our side. I wouldn't describe it as a feminist piece of work. There is one point, there are two women in it. One is unable to speak,
Yeah.
the Aquamarina. The other, I think she had one line in the whole episode I saw.
What?
She didn't-
Atlanta Shore?
Well, she was addressed directly only once by one of the men, and that was to say, "Honey, can you get me a coffee?"
Yeah. Well, she's the daughter of Commander Shore, who's the boss of the whole thing.
Oh,
But
I fear
she's
if
also...
I don't watch this, I'll never understand anything either of you two.
She's
ever
in
say
love.
again.
In love with the main character, who's in love with Marina,
Is that
the
Troy-
mute
Are you
mute
referring
seagull.
to Troy Tempest?
Pardon?
Are you referring to Troy Tempest?
Yes.
Oh.
Troy Tempest, who I remember an interview in TV21 comic, Sylvia Anderson said she'd based him on James Garner, who she was a big fan of. And you can absolutely see it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, Zoe Lyons is on the show today. I love Zoe Lyons, but she did say something today, and for the first time I thought, I don't like her as much as I thought I did. And what she said was, I'm a really good parker, talking about
yes.
cars. And you know, parking has been a skill I've never really acquired.
Oh,
And she
do you know what?
casually said it with a devil may care.
Do you know, I've parked in... I've broken physics with my parking. Like, I've managed to get my car into a space that's smaller than the car.
I'm liking you less and less.
And I've been so proud of my achievement. I've gone into my flat and woken my wife up at like 1:30 in the morning just to go, darling, I just need you to know. I've just done the most incredible bit of parking.
Yes, well, I haven't done that.
I'm so proud of it. I'm so good at it.
All right.
Yeah, and what happens? When I walk past somebody who can't park, I really, really have to fight the urge, and it's properly it's on for me to go. Do you want me to do that for you? Because I can't watch this anymore. Life's too short.
Oh,
I've
well,
seen
that is
people-
me. I was that soldier.
Can't you parallel park?
I can't know.
Why not?
I don't know why. I just can't.
I'm glad you're challenging
I've got
him on this. I
I've
found it
got a
extraordinary.
video screen on my new car that has a picture of what's behind me with two, like a red box and a square box crossing over. And apparently, if you know what that's telling you, you really can park well. Sarah told me a horror story, Sarah, the producer, that she's now got a car with no beeps.
But
I
then
mean,
That's
what
I would have to just leave that in the middle of the road.
well, that's what bumpers are for. I think you can gentle nudge. You can gentle nudge when you're parking. That's fine.
Zoe, can I just say tremendous respect for Sarah, though? I mean, tremendous respect anyway, but this is quality. She said, I looked into... She didn't say, she said, I looked into getting a beeper fitted in the car.
I mean...
And then what did you discover, Sarah? Costs?
Too expensive.
Too expensive.
200 quid, I think. What did you say?
No, several
£2,000.
thousand.
Was it £2,000?
You'd almost be cheaper just to drive around with somebody in the back seat. Just
Hire
to pay
someone.
them and go on. A few minutes more. You got it. Stop there. That's it. That's it. Beep,
What I
beep,
really
beep.
need
I mean,
is...
people marry for less.
Yeah.
What I need is some sort of cat's whiskers on both sides of the car. You know, they say they judge distance when
Yeah.
they go through a...
I have a theory.
Can I just say this about the beeping, though?
Right.
This is what annoys me.
Yeah.
Is if you have a car that doesn't beep and you park correctly without the beeps, no one knows. You don't get any applause from passers-by because they assume you've got the beeps like everyone else.
I'll make something of it. I do.
Don't you have with
I'll walk around the
sensors?
car.
Don't you find those at home?
I will. Just park that. I know, look at it. Take it in. Drink it in with your eyes.
Oh, man.
I find with the sensors, they're so neurotic, my sensors. Who knew, eh? And if I approach any sort of bollard, if there are pedestrians crossing, this is the problem.
I've learned to override my sensors.
How do you do that?
My front beepers are just, like you say, a bit over anxious, and I know
I've
that
noticed that. I thought it was a cold.
Please, for pity's sake.
I'm terribly
man.
sorry, but I
terribly
mean,
childish. I love it.
don't lead me in.
No, but my front beepers are oversensitive, and I've learned to override them.
Okay.
I
well,
know best. I know exactly how much room I've got. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Wow.
that's because you are a really good parker, apparently. Zoe Lyons. It's. I find it a mysterious
And all.
thing.
I almost wish it was an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
I can sort of see that.
Yeah.
I'd find it more entertaining than some of these things.
Like, and you have an extreme version where you handbraked into a space. I'd love to be able to do that. In fact, that's one of my life
I
goals.
watched a guy. I was at a sort of a tourist spot. You know, you got a tourist spot car park. There was a very horrible man in a car who said, "Oh, look at that!" And someone had parked slightly across the line of a thing, and he said, "Oh," and he got in and he started doing that thing when you put your right hand on the steering wheel and your left hand's holding the chair because you're looking.
Oh, yeah.
behind. And the right hand goes round frantically, and he just went into this space really fast. I mean. I was in awe. I thought, okay, you're a very stupid man, but you have a skill that I will never, ever even approach. So we've all got something in our quivers.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, we've had a number of our wonderful readers getting in touch about all sorts of things, but there's a lot of seagull activity. We've had a message in from Shell, as in Michelle Marbell.
Okay.
It's not a seagull, but a pelican.
What?
I'm going to take pelicans. How can I put this to the group?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Whilst visiting my husband's family in Adelaide, in brackets Australia,
Thanks.
Yeah.
Shell, you underestimate us.
Maybe there's another Adelaide somewhere. I've never heard of one, but it's possible.
Yeah, it might well be. A pelican ran me as I was I like the expression ran me, as I was feeding the ducks cake.
Okay.
I threw the bag of cake at the pelican, shouting, "Have it!" Whilst my husband
You want some?
almost went to the bathroom laughing. I love the idea of "have it" if you want it. Go
I
on
like
then.
he almost went to the bathroom
Well,
laughing. Beautiful.
I have actually added that.
Oh, you.
If
Oh,
you know
sorry.
what I mean.
It was a bit rude. Well
did a
done.
bit of work.
Of course, it was so you.
But I love the idea of the pelican having that shouted at them. It's almost like the beginnings of a messy divorce.
Yeah.
Go on, have it then.
Take it.
Take everything
Have
you
it.
want.
That make you feel happy. We've had a lot of readers writing in to tell us that they're not seagulls.
They're not.
No, they're just gulls. And that's
Oh,
where the
this is
confusion
true,
is lying.
yes.
So you're asking why there are seagulls in London, and the reason is because they're not seagulls. They're
So
just gulls.
So there is no bird called a seagull.
No.
Wow. Honestly, one of the few facts you think you have that's solid, you could hold
a
on
gull.
to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Listen to this. Listen to this from Paul Burke.
Hold on a minute.
That's
Okay.
broken.
Oh, just
now,
give me
isn't
a
it?
Just give me a little
We're
moment.
just going to have to let it go now,
I'm
Frank.
going to put my thimble on.
You just put your thimble on. Not there.
I don't know where Oh, Zoe. You two.
Yeah.
You two is as bad as each other. I feel like I'm on... Honestly.
I might get you a couple for your front bumpers.
Thank you.
Oh, your front beepers, wasn't it?
That's all we got time for tonight. New Faces 1978. Thank you for joining us, Zoe Lyons and Frank Skinner, two talented young performers who I'm sure you can agree we'll be seeing a great deal of on our screens. Paul Burke.
Oh, yeah.
My mate left his wallet on one of the tables outside a pub. Later that evening, we were walking along the beach. My friend was depressed, thinking his wallet was long gone. A seagull, a gull, I apologise, then dropped the wallet down from above, and it landed right in front of us.
Wow.
With all the contents inside. What I like about this is surprised that all the contents, if it would have gone on some sort of crime spree,
Rifle
the
through
card.
And it saw on the on its card that it had spent 800 quid in Tesco's on snacks.
Sports Direct.
I've had a starfish drop on my head before, dropped by a seagull.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
You just casually dropped that in
Yeah,
at
well, I
10:37.
did.
It sounds like a Michael Gorbachev anecdote.
Because they pick
That
them
was a
off the
squid.
beach. They pick them off the beach. I've had a mussel shell drop on my head.
Have you?
Yeah.
What else have you... I mean, this
Who
is-
was it? Who is the Greek playwright who died because an eagle dropped a
Oh, yes, that was a terrible incident.
dropped a turtle on his head?
I don't know, is this a recent? Have I missed this in the news?
No, this is ancient Greek
No,
news.
okay, okay. Dropped a
Frank's-
turtle.
Sorry, Frank's a bit slow to the party with his 3 a.m. hot news story.
Yeah, an eagle dropped a turtle on his head. Apparently, eagles. Now, this is. I don't know if it still happens, but in ancient Greece, they would drop turtles on eggs to break them, so they could. So they would pick a turtle up, drop it on the egg, eat the eggs, and he was bald, and so they thought he was a
The
big
massive egg.
That's the theory.
See that?
That's
I
why I
don't know.
keep my hat on.
Well, also in those days...
I don't know where they've got the eagle's motivation from in this story. You won't really get Zoe's joke unless you know Zoe quite well.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've got some further seagull correspondence.
Gull.
Oh,
Gotta drop
please.
the sea
If you
now.
don't mind, I'm now going to get quite pernickety about this.
No, I think that's
now that
fair
I
enough.
know, it's gull. Thank you, Emily.
Imagine if I was the kind of person, well, I've been told. Turns out I am. At Another Brick has got in touch with us. I once watched as seagulls chased after a girl with an ice cream. She ran, laughed, screamed until they finally brought her down.
Wow.
Took the ice cream. The family were hysterical. If they chase you, just give it up. No one should have to live through that shame.
In other words, the approach that they're suggesting is have it.
Have it. How does
Shell.
a seagull bring you down?
What I like as well is that Shell,
There must have been more than one.
Shell who sent in the Avid,
Yeah.
I can imagine
And we
Shell.
call her Shell, remember, not Seashell.
Yeah, she's not a seashell.
Avid, regards, Shell.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Shell. I love Shell. Tony Davidson has also been in touch. Someone I used to work with had a chicken carcass dropped on him by a seagull.
Yeah.
So Henry VIII type seagull. While he was ironically eating chicken curry and chips after a rugby match, and it knocked him out.
Whoa.
As Tony points out, revenge possibly.
I'm gonna butt in there and say somebody didn't butcher that carcass well enough. There shouldn't have been enough meat on that to knock a grown man out.
Maybe the
I'm thinking stock. I'm thinking sandwiches for later. I'm thinking
but
somebody's done a poor job in the kitchen there.
the gull might have taken it from a barbecue
This is true.
and had its fill and then just dropped it like that. I mean, that one with the wallet, when it said the wallet dropped right in front of them, I was really hoping that would end was dropped straight into his inside pocket. that would have been the anecdote of all time.
I've got a lovely one here from 6751.
Yeah.
Dear Frankie and the gang. I don't know how you feel about that, Frank.
I'm all right with that.
Okay.
I
good.
quite
I
like
used to go on stage to Frankie.
Did
Do
you?
remember? Yeah.
Do you remember me? To which you would say,
No.
No, was it Bolton?
oh, no.
Dear Frankie and the gang, we were playing Clacton-on-Sea Golf Club on Monday, and Toenails, one of my group, don't ask, chipped into the 17th. A seagull speed walked across the green and picked the ball up with its beak. I love the
Okay.
idea of a seagull
Wow.
speed walk like
I didn't fly.
No, speed walked. As it took off, I shouted some of my favourite combination of insults, waving my hands, which caused it to swallow the ball mid-flight. The ball seemed to get lodged in its throat. It fell to the ground. The ball popped out.
This can't be. If this is going in the hole.
The goal flew off, and our playing partner said, as quick as a flash, 2-shot penalty, that, mate.
I thought it was a be a birdie.
Oh, come on.
I like that response. It's like I just produced a rabbit out of a hat. Well, I'm really warming to the gulls because they
Are
are.
you? Why?
They're
'Cause you know
clever.
what?
They're determined, adventurous, inventive.
Sporty, quite
Yeah.
clearly.
Bit of a git.
Yeah, got a bit of a git. And
Yeah.
And I quite like the bit of a gittishness about them.
no, I've really. They've won me over this morning.
Really?
The gull community. They're clever. Yeah.
I think, do you know what, Frank? I'm slowly warming to them. I mean, I still do worry about, I don't think they're going to be happy bedfellows with my boy Ray. Because
No.
he's too furry and he looks too irresistible to them.
Well, birds will take a small dog.
I know,
certainly.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I met
one
a
of the
woman in
problems.
Alaska once who lost a chihuahua to an eagle.
Really?
Yeah.
You've got all the best stories.
Haven't I?
You say best. I mean,
That is a
frankly,
good
I
one.
find that rather harrowing and I doubt I'll sleep tonight.
Sorry.
No, it's when my dog was a puppy, we went on holiday and were warned
I
by
don't,
locals.
is this a horrible thing?
No, it never happened. But we
Okay.
just warned that dog's just under the weight where they will take it.
Oh, my
So if you're
God.
not careful, amazing.
That's why I put my Jack Russell in a weighted vest.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. We also had, I'm frantically trying to find it, but if I can't, I just want to say attention must be paid. We had, when we asked people for their seagull stories, their favourite gull stories, one of our brilliant readers, and this again sums up why I love our readers, texted in with the rhyme of the ancient mariner. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an albatross, but never mind.
I know, but you know, it's a bird-related story. Come
Yeah,
on.
it is. It's a good story.
It's okay.
Thank you, Zoe. It's always great to have you here because you're
A good
fabulous.
Parker. Good Parker.
That I don't want to dwell on. But and thank you all for listening this morning and for many fabulous contributions from our readers. You know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, We'll be back again this time next week. Now, get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.